Welcome, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 4 p.m. Adoption of the agenda.
That West Elgin Council hereby adopts the regular council agenda for February 26, 2026 as presented.
A mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. Disclosure of any pecuniary interest and nature thereof. Seeing none, we go to 4, which is a public meeting.
That West Elgin Council hereby proceed into public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. 4.1. We go to zoning amendment D1411-2025. Planners report. Robert Brown, planner, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon to everybody in the council chambers. The first application before us is a zoning amendment application. This is a condition of consent application E6025 that was approved by the Land Division Committee back in at their November meeting of 2025. The purpose of the zoning amendment is to rezone the retained parcel as a condition of that severance from general agricultural to A2 agricultural that will prohibit future dwellings on the parcel, but will continue to permit all agricultural related items, excluding a dwelling, and rezone the severed surplus dwelling parcel from general agricultural A1 to rural residential in order to recognize the new surplus dwelling lot. Properties on private water and septic, it's 0.62 acres in size, leaving the remnant parcel of just around 51 acres. The severance application was reviewed and obviously in compliance. The zoning is a condition of that and required as part of provincial policy statement that the retained parcel has to be rezoned to prohibit future dwellings. Otherwise, the dwelling that was severed is not surplus. The same policy is echoed in the county official plan and the West Elgin official plan. They have both been reviewed in the context of the proposed lot. The dwelling is well in excess of 10 years old. It is in good repair and capable of human habitation. There's no livestock around the property, so there's no minimum distance separation issues. The new lot also is limited in size and doesn't include any actively farmed land. And there's no buildings either on the severed lot or the remnant farm parcel that would require removal. Everything is in good repair. The one difference over some surplus dwelling severances is that any lots that are under the 1 acre mark are rezoned to rural residential versus those that are over the 1 acre. Really, the only difference between those is ones over an acre do have the potential to support a small amount of livestock, and that's reflected in the zoning bylaw itself. In this particular case, because this is a zoning, it was circulated to everyone within 120 meters. That circulation took place on January 30th, well in advance of the 20-day requirement. The notice was also posted on the website along with a sign that's posted on the website. Comments that were received that were consistent with what we do in the past. Building department indicated obviously that the septic system would need to be inspected and that the distances from the property lines need to be confirmed. And also they noted that the separation distance between the farm building and the lot would have to be reviewed to ensure that it's in compliance with Ontario Building Code. Typically, I wouldn't expect this to be an issue, but it does have to be reviewed. Outside agencies were also circulated. There was no comment provided up to the date of the report, and there was also no public comment that was submitted either in support or objection to the application. With that, I have nothing further to add, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any comments from the landowner or public comments? Seeing none. Any council comments? Yes, councillor Denning.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through the chair. Robert, the proposed severance line on the figure 2 diagram is kind of on an angle. Is that to accommodate the fact that the garage is staying and to keep it under the 1 acre?
It could just simply be how the building was sited and where the lines. It honestly depends on whether they run the lines perpendicular or whether they're trying to follow kind of the line of occupation. I don't think there was necessarily any intent one way or the other. It just sometimes they're straight and sometimes they're not.
And just one follow-up question, if I
Yes.
may. So, I mean, a line, looking at this line in figure 2, is that not something that could cause issues down the road, that lot that gets severed is sold 20 years from now, and because of its irregularity, create property boundary issues?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councilor's question, certainly that's a possibility. I've looked at a number of severances in the past where lines weren't necessarily straight. I've also looked at ones that were horribly crooked, following drains and everything else, and it could. I can't say it wouldn't potentially cause an issue, but with it being fairly recently surveyed, the bars are very clearly marked on this property. It's really kind of up to the property owners to just basically keep an eye on maintaining some reference point, knowing where those are, whether it's sometimes you'll see farmers put fence posts where very close to, or some type of more permanent stake so that you can see it. The bars are pounded into the ground, so they're hard to find. But this particular one on 2 sides, it is demarcated by an existing fence. But yeah, is that a possibility? Yes, but it's not something that typically I would have suggested to somebody that they straighten the lot line out.
Thank you.
Okay, I personally have walked around this property and I can't see a problem as such. I think it's fine. Could I have any more comments from council? Could I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14 11/2025, recommendation report, planning report 2026-04, and that West Elgin Council approve the rezoning of 23104 Johnson Line from general agricultural A1 to agricultural A2 and rural residential RR in accordance with the attached draft bylaw, and that West Elgin Council consider an amendment to the zoning bylaw presented in the bylaw portion of the February 26, 2026 council agenda.
Mover, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. So we move on to 4.2. Zoning amendment D14-1-2026. And over to you, Robert, again for the planner's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The subject property is an existing vacant residential lot that has a frontage of 20.12 meters and a depth of 38.1 meters and is 804.6 meters squared. In 1991, the parcel was actually rezoned from R1 at the time to R3. I'm not entirely certain what the intent of that was. The R3 does permit different residential uses, higher density residential uses. That obviously never materialized. The lot was recently purchased by a builder with the intent of constructing a single detached dwelling. Unfortunately, that R3 zone does not permit uh, a single detached dwelling, although it permits lots of other types of residential development. Uh, they submitted an application to rezone it back to the standard R1 zone, which I believe is appropriate for this area. It's all single detached residential development. This is not your full width, full urban profile type of road on there. So higher density development on that would potentially be troublesome to support. So putting it back to the standard R1 residential zone just I think makes good long-term sense based on the surrounding area. There's no issues with provincial policy, the county OP or the West Elgin official plan. These lands are located within the settlement area and were intended for residential use. I would note, even with something this simple, there's always good and bad. Obviously, going from an R3 zone to an R1 zone, you're downsizing or reducing the potential for higher density development. But again, as I said, this I think higher density development on this property would not be appropriate for the area. So the zoning back to R1 makes appropriate and good land use sense. They did provide a conceptual sketch of a single detached dwelling bungalow with two-car garage on it that fits well within the confines of the lot. The notice was provided to everyone with 120 meters, again on January 30th, posted on the website. The sign was posted on the property on the 28th of January. There was no concerns expressed internally from municipal departments, nothing from outside agencies, and nothing that had been received at the time of writing from the neighbors that were circulated. And on that note, that is all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Landowner or public comments? Seeing none. Councillors' comments? Seeing none. Recommendation, please.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14, 2026, recommendation report, planning report 2026-06, and that West Elgin Council approve the rezoning of 283 Rideout Street from residential third density R3 zone to residential first density R1 zone in accordance with the attached draft bylaw, and that West Elgin Council consider an amendment to the zoning bylaw presented in the bylaw portion of the February 26, 2026 council agenda.
Mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. We go to 4.3, zoning amendment. D14 2-2026. Planners report. Robert, it's over to you again.
Gonna go out with a bang. The purpose of the zoning bylaw, again, this is a surplus dwelling severance consent application E30 approved by the Land Division Committee back in June of 2025 to sever the existing dwelling as surplus to the owners of the farming operation. Again, the retained farm parcel will be rezoned from A1 to A2 to prohibit future dwellings. And in this case, again, the lot is under the 1 acre mark, so it would be rezoned from A1 to rural residential RR. Again, no issues with provincial policy, as the zoning is one of the requirements under that policy to prohibit future dwellings on the farm parcel. Same with the county official plan. And the items under the West Elgin official plan have also been reviewed. The house is well in excess of 10 years old. Is in good repair, capable of housing folks. The proposal also complies with minimum distance separation. There's no significant livestock in the area. Septic will be reviewed as a condition. And there's no buildings in poor repair on either the severed or retained parcel that would require removal. Again, the zoning bylaw from A1 to A2 for the farm parcel to prevent future dwellings, and RR for the rural residential lot. There's no special provisions required in either case. The application notice was circulated again January 30th. Sign posted on the property on the 28th, and the notice was posted on the municipal website. Municipal departments were circulated. Any requirements were incorporated into the consent application at the time. Outside agencies were circulated on the property. I did receive very late comment from the Conservation Authority on this. That comment was simply noting the proximity of a drain. It does not have an impact on the severance itself. That was simply sort of an FYI from the Conservation Authority. And at the time of writing, there was no comment from the public. So unless there's questions from council or members of the public, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Landowner or public comments? Seeing none. Councillor comments? Seeing none. Recommendation, please.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14 to 2026, recommendation report, planning report 2026-05, and that West Elgin Council approve the rezoning of 22165 Talbot Line from general agricultural A1 to agricultural A2 and rural residential RR in accordance with the attached draft bylaw, and that West Elgin Council consider an amendment to the zoning bylaw presented in the bylaw portion of the February 26, 2026 council agenda.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. So we move on to 4.4, zoning amendment D14 3-2026. Robert, over to you again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is not your surplus dwelling severance or rezoning of residential lots. This particular zoning applies to the former school property owned by the Thames Valley District School Board that was recently sold and in the process of finalizing that sale. Back in November of last year, the Land Division Committee approved the severance of a 5.6 acre lot under file E6425. There was also a subsequent minor variance that was approved by the Committee of Adjustment to address a reduction in the lot frontage on the property. The applicant purchased the school property with the eventual hope of redeveloping it, likely for residential purposes. However, in the interim, the proposal is to repurpose the existing building to provide off-site worker housing for up to 65 workers being employed by a local manufacturing business. In the context of provincial policy statement, this tends to fall under the provision of housing. Worker housing is not necessarily sort of your typical housing type, but certainly is something that in a number of areas is a big requirement. I'm sure that back in the day in West Elgin, with all of the tobacco that was grown, there was likely quite a few shore workers that came in to the area during both planting season and harvesting season. With that having sort of gone by the wayside, it's not something that you readily see, although there still are certainly farm operations throughout West Elgin that do use worker housing or require additional labor during the harvest and or planting season. That same reliance is becoming something that non-agricultural industries are also starting to see a need. The company in question produces precast concrete products in the community, has for a number of years. They're used in drainage and erosion control. They were recently awarded a contract to provide very large precast concrete products for Metrolinx for development of additional commuter lines in the Greater Toronto area. This will involve the expansion of their Hoskins Line facility and also the hiring of additional workers. The company currently houses some workers on site now. However, the Hoskins site does not have access to sanitary sewer service, and it's also not necessarily in close proximity to kind of day-to-day amenities that the workers might need, because they're not necessarily relying on vehicle transportation, but rather good old shoe leather, or quite often offshore workers will use bicycles to use for transportation. Reuse of the former school site provides a more residential setting. It's got both indoor and outdoor amenity space. My experience with temporary workers in the greenhouse industry, this is a big part of something that needs to be provided for the workers, is both outdoor and indoor amenity space. Quite often, they like to have space for soccer. It's a universal sport around the world, very popular, and quite often in areas where there are a large number of workers, you'll even kind of see on the weekends they get together and play soccer, and even have some local tournaments. So I don't necessarily expect that here, not quite the same scale, but the location also provides better access to workers to the West Lorne area, to the downtown area, in terms of accessing kind of some day-to-day services that they would need. From a county official plan standpoint, this is a reuse within the settlement area. It's a residential type use. Would fit within that. Under the West Elgin official plan, the same thing. The rationale behind the reuse is looking at the current institutional zoning on the property does allow quite a few different uses, one of which is a retirement home. This is or long-term care facility. This is also something that could be, potentially repurposed if that were the idea, to apartments to service the needs of the area. So the transition from a school with quite a few people and day-to-day activities to something like this, or even another form of residential use, I believe fit fairly well for reuse of the property. From the zoning standpoint, as I mentioned, the subject property is institutionally zoned. The zoning does permit, as of right, quite a variety of different uses, including churches, community centers, daycare, nurseries, funeral homes, retirement homes, schools, obviously, long-term care facilities. And it would even actually permit a dwelling accessory to any of those uses. A number of those permitted uses, obviously have an existing residential component to them, very similar in nature to what's being proposed. The capacity of the facility that's being proposed at this point is up to 65 workers. That housing capacity would be subject to a number of inspections and criteria under both the fire department, building department, and the health unit. The health unit often takes the lead on this, because they're sort of the final sign-off under most of the temporary foreign worker programs. In this particular instance, the proposed amendment would note a capacity limit up to 65 workers. However, it would also note that will be subject to the inspection by those three agencies I mentioned, and the final capacity would be based on whatever the maximum number that they determine. Again, up to 65. If it's determined less by any one of those others, that would be the ultimate number. Right now, the West Elgin zoning bylaw doesn't really include everything needed to address this. It did take some time to consider what exactly to refer to this as. Ultimately, what was landed on is the need to include a new definition in the bylaw for off-site accessory worker housing. This would not just simply be worker housing that would be open to any worker housing. This would be something that will be directly accessory to and tied to the facility that is hiring these folks. So it won't just be anybody coming into the facility can use it. It's exclusive to the owners of the facility and the manufacturing company that will be using it. And that's defined in the bylaw, and a definition of off-site accessory worker housing has also been included in the amendment that's being brought forward to council this evening. A layout of the proposal was included with the report. There's no external renovations that are occurring. Much of the work will be inside the school. They're not proposing to use the entire school. There are a couple of areas that would remain empty, but again, like I said, the capacity is capped at what's being proposed. The building itself, a lot of the activity is being kept towards sort of the east side of the facility. The building between it and the back of the residential lots that are along Graham Street, there's a separation of roughly 70 feet. The only external modifications that you will see is there's some reconfiguration a little bit on the west side as you're coming in, just off of the end of the driveway. There's a proposal to modify the parking area, move that closer. That would then allow for circulation of buses. There would be one or more buses would enter the property to pick workers up, transport them to the work site, and then bring them back at the end of the day. That will be probably the sum total or majority of the traffic to and from the site. Aside from, like I said, most workers rely on pedal power to get around when they're not at work. The application was circulated to everyone with 120 meters of the subject property on January 30th. Sign was posted on the 28th. The notice was posted to the website as well on January 30th. Municipal departments were circulated, and it was noted that fire department inspection would be required. Building department would be involved in terms of a change of use, and the Southwestern Public Health Unit would also be required to inspect the facility. Any future development of the site will be subject to further review. We're only dealing with the current request today. If future plans do come forward, those will be subject to additional approvals and additional public notice at that time. The agencies that were circulated had no comments, and up till the time of writing of the report, I have had no input from surrounding neighbors. So unless there's questions from council or the public, that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Landowner or public comments? You just state your name, please, and
there it goes. Tyler Arvi, representing Arvi Developments, and IUCS as well. So I probably won't make too many comments because I think Robert did a really good job of summarizing kind of our next steps with this property. We're working towards obviously the future is a little bit different with this land. I think everyone understands that there's an opportunity down the road to work with this municipality on what that space might look like, whether it be residential, what type of residential or other needs that this community might need at that time. But right now, it's an opportunity for us to utilize a building that's been open for many years. I went to that school. I think a lot of people from around here are familiar with that place. So, looking forward to working. Robert's done a great job. David as well. Multiple people have been involved in these conversations to get us to a point where we believe by way of code and architects that this can work. It's a short-term solution to a project that we're excited to bring to this municipality. ICS has had tremendous success over the last handful, if not decades, continuing to grow the business. This is a big project that my father, Louis, who's behind me here, as well as my brother Greg have secured. By far the biggest job that we have taken on, and probably one of the biggest opportunities for this community to bring a job of this size to this town, which includes hiring on more people. I knew there were some questions. There's been some murmurs and some comments to me about the type of worker. Obviously, I think it goes without saying that anybody that is here that has the opportunity and wants to work at our factory, I think we open the doors for all of those conversations to make sure that if there's anybody that needs an opportunity at the factory, we're here and we need people. I can say that on our behalf. But without that, extra help is required, right? So, we are looking to bring in some folks. We've done this on previous projects as well. And when you're bringing in a number of that large, we do need some help and we need some housing. So, an opportunity to utilize an existing building and make it work for us short term as well as long term. So happy to answer any questions that anybody may or may not have. And I'll leave it there. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Questions from council? Councillor Sousa.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just, how long do you envision that this property will remain providing off-site workers with temporary housing?
Very good question. Our anticipated completion of the project is, I would suggest around 3 years, probably less. I will say projects of this size sometimes do take longer than anticipated, and the starting of that project has actually already taken longer than anticipated, which actually has lined up with this process as well. So I would submit probably in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 years, but again, we'll see.
Thank you.
Further questions from council? Seeing none, thank you. Pardon? Okay, Councillor Sousa.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm just, probably a question for Robert. Hi, Robert. I'm concerned about the parking lot being moved closer to neighboring properties. Is the parking lot large enough to accommodate 65 off-site workers if it came down to that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Sousa's question, it is the amount. You have to keep in mind that these are folks that are coming in from elsewhere. They're not driving. It's very rare that they have vehicles. They're providing, I believe, well in excess of 20 spaces on there. There is additional room should the need arise. They have lots of adequate room to further expand parking, but my experience with temporary worker housing is there is very little actual vehicle parking needs for them. You're likely going to see probably five to 6 or 7 or 8 bikes per every car.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert. If I may, just to add on to that, part of the reasoning to move that parking lot that was currently in the back, if you've been on site recently, the hill, as it was always called, it has no longer access to circle all the way around it. There's been a fence, and our property severance line will have to come there. So a piece of the puzzle for us is actually for fire safety to make sure the proper radius to get the truck in and around. So our original conversation that we were having is because there's no more circular access around the hill, we decided we had to look at it and said, listen, in order to have proper safety with our trucks getting in and getting out and not having to turn around, let's just kill the parking in the back. We'll add a new lot closer to the side. That way, there's nobody in the way of any type of, to Robert's point, the bus when it comes around and picks up the employees, but also, if our truck needs to go through, the fire truck needs to go through, there's lots of radius space to turn.
Thank you. Just
Yes.
just another question. I'm more of a concern. I'm a little bit concerned for our residential neighbors around the property for potential noise, late traffic, lights, and so on. But potentially up to 65 people, I think that's quite significant. Can you picture behind your own backyard with 65 people going in and out, evening, early mornings, every day? mean, I'm just adjusting some of concerns from the neighbors around the school. I just want to make that a point, and I'm a little bit concerned about it.
That's why I asked for public comment.
Yeah.
And there's no one here to do that.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor Tellier.
Thank you, and through your mayor, I'm just wondering about maybe too early stages for this, but wondering about light pollution from the parking lot. How many lights are proposed to have in that parking lot?
You can,
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the plans don't show any additional lighting being provided on the site. That's certainly something I think Tyler could note. This would not, based on the scale of the improvements that are required, typically require going through site plan. Otherwise, I would say that that's something that could pick up something like that. We can certainly note here that any lighting that is added does have to meet certain standards. It can't be blasting light into the neighbors' yards at any time. I don't believe the site had a great deal of parking lot lighting. I think it did have some perimeter lighting around the outside of the building, which would not change. And if that hasn't been a problem for the neighbors in the past, I'm not envisioning a problem moving forward with that changing in any significant way.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if I could add on to that, Robert, totally agree. Our plan currently, there is lighting around the building that currently is in place. I think most people have probably driven past there at nighttime. There is no plan to add additional lighting in that space. And just to address any comments and just for more clarification on, we will actually have 2 shifts, just so we're on the same page. So at no time in theory, will there ever be 65 plus people all probably at that space at the same time. They'll be on shift work. And the exciting part for that facility, which is different from most, is there's a gymnasium there. So, obviously, I think there was comments about there is a large, vast field behind that house. So if they do want to have some recreation, it's there. But we are lucky that there's a lot of room in the school. And based on the architectural drawings and making sure that we're adhering to code, there's a lot of that school we actually cannot use. Which will turn itself into casual space, right? So space where they can sit and watch TV, or a massive gymnasium where they can play whatever sport they want to play. So we're hopeful that they will not have issues with the neighbors. And, we are in the community. So I think if there is an issue moving forward, we will be addressing that if something were to happen. I think it's important to note that the individuals who will be at this facility living there, their employment is connected to being there, right? So, we're hopeful that there won't be any major issues because they will also lose their employment at the same time. So, but we're cognizant of that, and we're going to continue to do, whatever we can to make sure that the folks that are along Graham are content with where we land on this.
thank you for that. Councillor Statham, please.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and thank you for the presentation, Robert. Thank you for that. I guess I had 2 questions, and you just suggested something to me I was thinking about. So if there was a concern with a particular individual that was staying there and that was brought forward to the employer, you said that is connected to their employment. So if there was a concern with an individual, that would be addressed by the employer and their employment would be impacted, and then they would no longer be a resident there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. The second question I had, Robert, I think this is more for you. I just want to make sure that we have conformity with the County of Elgin official plan and the West Elgin official plan, specifically with respect to institutional to residential transitions. I guess I'm not really 100% sure if this qualifies because, is it residential intensification or special needs housing, or is it more dormitory style accommodations for a private employer? So I'm a little bit on the fence on whether or not we actually have conformity with the official plans. I wondered if Robert, you could speak to that, please.
Certainly through you, Mr. Mayor. It's always a challenge with housing like this. This is something that's kind of in between. It has some characteristics of both of what you mentioned. I tend to look at it as residential in nature. There are areas that have significant bunk housing in and around agricultural areas. There's also in that same community, you probably know what I'm alluding to, that have quite a bit of residential development repurposed in homes. They've acquired a number of homes within the community that they need them, and they house workers there. And that's been in residential settings, not necessarily institutional settings, although I have seen at least one repurposed, and I think another one's potentially queuing up in that same area. But it's really repurposing, I believe, of institutional. Like I mentioned, I looked at it as similar to something like retirement home or long-term care facility. Those are both uses that you'd find in a residential area, which this is. This is most institutional properties have an underlying residential designation, and so does this. And a lot of the reason behind that is whether it was intentional or not. Maybe they foresaw that schools might close one day or churches close, and quite often they are repurposed for residential uses, and that's really what I see this as, rather than a dormitory. If it was a dormitory, I'd see that more of a something that was on the site with say with the employer, as opposed to a standalone.
Thank you, Robert.
Further comments? See none. We have the recommendation, please.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14, 3/2026. Recommendation report, planning report 2026-07. And that West Elgin Council approve the rezoning of 145 Graham Street from institutional I to site-specific institutional special use regulation 3 I-3 zone. And that West Elgin Council approve the inclusion of a new definition, off-site accessory worker housing, in the West Elgin zoning bylaw. And that West Elgin Council consider an amendment to the zoning bylaw presented in the bylaw portion of the February 26, 2026 council agenda.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded. Councillor Denning. All in favour? That's carried. And so we'll go on to 4.5, and it's adjournment of the public meeting.
That West Elgin Council hereby adjourn the public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act and reconvenes into regular council.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa. Councillor Denning. Seconded. All in favour? That's carried.
Mr. Mayor, if I could indulge everyone for about 60 seconds.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. I just wanted to convey my thank you to West Elgin Council, West Elgin staff, and the community at large for putting their trust in me for the last 3.5 years as the municipal planner. I have enjoyed it quite a bit. Getting out of my basement one day a week was beneficial to my mental health, as well as staying in touch with municipal planning. So I just wanted to extend my thanks to everybody, and also an invitation that if at any time you have a planning question or just want to bend my ear for some random reason, by all means feel free to reach out.
Okay, thank you. And we feel the same. You've done a great job for West Elgin, and become sort of a personal friend to us all. So thank you very much. So the next is 5, and it's Delegation presentation. Welcome, Pan Wardle, Chair of the Economical Development Committee. 2026 project plans. Welcome.
Thank you. I'll try not to cough. I have a bit of a cold today, so. Good afternoon. My name is Pam Wardell, and I'm the West Elgin Economic Development Committee Chairperson. The committee has submitted a report to council for consideration for the 2026 budget year. I believe you all have a copy of that. The purpose of the report is to share with council the projects that Economic Development Committee has discussed and would like to proceed for the 2026 year with funding support from council. The projects align with the goal of the strategic plan and its priority for the Economic Development Committee, which is to ensure a strong economy that supports growth and maintains a lower cost of living. The committee is working together to achieve this goal. We have 5 projects that the committee will promote within the community and to deliver to the business owners. Number 1, the Economic Development Committee would like to introduce a Business After 5 event that will be offered 2 to 4 times in 2026. The purpose of the events is to provide an opportunity for local business owners to meet, share, and promote their services, and also to learn about resources to support their business goals. The cost is estimated anywhere between $500 to $800, basically $200 per event, basically for refreshments. Number 2, West Elgin Business Mapping. It is a promotional paper-based business map that would highlight the various businesses across West Elgin. We've been working on this for a while, and we think it's a great way to learn about what is in West Elgin and also for the business owner for the exposure. We will distribute this through businesses and social gathering places. We are requesting funding for startup costs with a vision to have the business map be self-sustaining through purchased advertising in the future. Cost to design and print is $5,000. This is just an estimate. Cultivating our success. This event has been going on for the past couple of years with the county. The EDC participates with the event with Dutton Dunwich, Southold, and the County of Elgin. There are 2 events, one in the spring and one in the fall. The event provides networking and learning opportunity for businesses across Elgin County. The cost is $2,000, so basically $1,000 per event. Number 4, the Economic Development Committee would like to host a small farm business tour event. This event is to invite members of the provincial government to visit West Elgin and surrounding areas and to promote the value of the small farming industry and to share the challenges experienced by them. Local MPPs and members of the MRA will be invited. An estimated cost is between $5,000 and $10,000, so potentially we'll need a bus to transport people to the different small farm areas. And finally, our 5th project is called Business Welcome Package. The committee would like to offer new business owners a welcome package of information. What a nice way to connect with the new businesses in our community. The package would contain resources and service links to support their business operations. We would network with the county and Small Business Enterprise Center to prepare these valuable information packages. Cost is approximate $500. In closing, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to present the West Elgin Economic Development Report to you. We are requesting an immediate funding, though, of $300 to support the initial Who's Who's Business After 5 event that we have scheduled for March the 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at either the council chambers here or the West Elgin Community Center in Rodney. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much. Sounds very interesting.
Excited.
Yes.
I am anyway,
Yeah.
so I know. Thank you.
Any comments from council? It sounds excellent.
Thank you,
Councillor
Mr.
Denning,
Thank you,
please.
Mr. Mayor, through the chair. I think I echo the sentiments of the entire group around the horseshoe here. Pam, Thank you. Thank you to the entire Economic Development Group for bringing such energy and positivity to a much needed part of our community. So thank you and keep up the great work.
Thank you very much. And moving on, we go to adoption of the minutes.
That West Elgin Council hereby adopt the minutes of January 22nd, 2026, regular council meeting, and February 5th, 2026, special council meeting as presented.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded. Councillor Statham. All in favour? That's carried. Businesses arising from the minutes. Seeing none. We go to staff reports. 8.1, planning. Consent application E17-26, 26-12, Carol Lyon. Comments to Elgin County. Evan, could you please come up and speak about it, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the committee, the subject property is located at 26212 Carol Lyon. Consent application E1726 proposes to sever a parcel with a frontage of 190 meters, a depth of 240 meters, and an area of 4.04 hectares. To sever a dwelling surplus to a farming operation, the applicant is retaining a lot with an area of 16.1874 hectares proposed to remain agricultural use. The subject lands are designated agricultural area in the County of Elgin official plan, designated agricultural natural heritage, and the Municipality of West Elgin official plan and zone general agricultural A1. Consent application E1726 was reviewed by staff with consideration to the provincial planning statement, Elgin County official plan, Municipality of West Elgin official plan, and Municipality of West Elgin zoning bylaw. With respect to the PPS, based on the analysis conducted by county staff are of the opinion that the application is not consistent with the PPS. The PPS states lot creation in prime agricultural areas is discouraged and may only be permitted in accordance with provincial guidance for the new lot will be limited to a minimum size needed to accommodate the use and appropriate sewage and water services. The application proposes the severance of 4.0468 hectares, which is larger than the minimum required to accommodate the on-site well and septic systems. The proposed severed lands contain a primary dwelling, 2 accessory buildings, and agricultural land. The severed lands contain a water body and water courses that, in the opinion of staff, indicate their function for agricultural runoff. Agricultural lands must remain with the farmland as they are integral to its agricultural use. In addition, the presence of agricultural watercourse on a residential property raises health and safety concerns. County staff has reviewed the application according to the guidelines set forth in the County of Elgin official plan. The County of Elgin official plan permits surplus farm dwelling severances, however, it raises the same concerns as the PPS. The severed lands are not minimal as they contain approximately 4.0468 hectares of total land. Staff reviewed the applications against the policies of the Municipality of West Elgin official plan. In our opinion, that the application does not conform to the municipal official plan policies. Like I said before, the proposed severance does not minimize a loss of productive farmland. Consent application E1726 was circulated internally for review and comments by municipal departments. At the time of this meeting, no comments have been received. Planning staff recommend refusal of consent application E1726, which would facilitate the severance of a surplus farm dwelling severance. This application is not consistent with the PPS, does not comply to the County of Elgin official plan and Municipality of West Elgin official plans. However, the application does meet the intent of the Municipality of West Elgin zoning bylaw. If passed, an additional Planning Act application will be required to rezone the proposed and severed lots. As such, planning staff are of the opinion that the application is not acceptable from a planning perspective. If the Elgin County Land Division Committee approves this application, the Municipality of West Elgin hereby requests the following conditions be imposed. 1, that the applicant meet all requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality to the satisfaction and clearance of the municipality. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the lands to be severed, which can be registered in the land registry office to the satisfaction and clearance of the municipality. 3, that the applicant solicitor provides an undertaking to the municipality to provide a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel once transaction has occurred to the municipality. 4, that the applicant successfully applied to the municipality for a zoning bylaw amendment for the severed and retained parcels and such amendment of zoning bylaws should come into full force and effect pursuant to the Planning Act to the satisfaction and clearance of the municipality. And 5, that prior to the final approval of the county the county is advised in writing by the municipality how the above noted conditions have been satisfied. I'm open to comments and questions. Thank you.
Any comments? Go on, Bill.
Thank you very much, Evan, and through the chair. Evan, if this severance is not successful today and the applicant reaches out to you, will you be open and receptive to providing alternative options for them?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, but it would have to be amended and then go to a further land division meeting. But yes, I would be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? This is a recommendation to go to county and we've received your message. Okay, so can I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby received the report from Evan McKinstry, Junior Planner, regarding severance application E1726, comments to Elgin County, Planning Report 2026-08, and that West Elgin Council hereby recommend refusal to the Elgin County Land Division Committee for consent application E1726, and further that West Elgin Council directs administration to provide this report as municipal comments to the County of Elgin.
Move it, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour? That's carried. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Okay, we'll restart again. And we go to 8.2, which is the fire. 8.2.1. 2025 year-end report, West Elgin Fire Department. Jeff, over to you, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good afternoon, Council. 2025 year-end report is in front of you. I'll just go through and just highlight a couple things and then happy to answer any questions. You'll see in 2025, the incident response was up considerably. The totals by type report was attached. As you may have noticed, nothing in particular, and this is pretty, I'll be honest, pretty consistent across the county and the province as a whole. I'd say in a lot of areas that incidents are up kind of in all areas. So we did see that here as well in 2025. We had 7 incidents outside of West Elgin, specifically Dutton Dunwich. Typically mutual aid. Sometimes we do have a couple calls. 401 is an example that may get dispatched near the municipal boundary that may drop in one way or the other, but we did have 7 calls, incidents in Dutton Dunwich. Really want to highlight the next stat here, and it does show up on the totals by type report as well. So while we did have about 1.3 million in estimated loss last year, we had an amazing 7.3 million, just over that in estimated properties saved. So for any department, especially for an on-call department in a community like West Elgin, that's an impressive number. A lot of that came from an industrial building in West Lorne that was a significant save with no damage to the contents, but definitely worth highlighting the save there by the crews last summer. So while we still see some loss, the property saved was definitely a highlight for 2025. Training. Sorry, I'll just skip back one moment to the totals by type. So you'll see them broken down there on the list. The codes and call types reflect how we report them to the OFM. So that's why some of them should be self-explanatory, but that's how they're how we report them to the OFM. Going over to training. So training program continues to increase. It seems each year we've had a training committee in place now for a couple years, I believe, which is they're doing a fantastic job meeting regularly. They put together the training schedule, ensuring that the proper documentation. That's of course a more important thing for us all the time. And we've come a long ways with our documentation, which is great. And we're in a very good shape to meet provincial certification. So that comes into effect on July 1st, 2026. We do have a few gaps, a few courses to still get completed, but generally we're in excellent shape to meet certification, which is of course province-wide. You'll see the impressive number 124 subjects covered last year. And again, there's close to 3,800 hours of staff firefighter time just towards training. That doesn't cover all the other items. And 80 hours of fire school instructor hours. So that's hours that we're able to invoice back to the county. So that's no cost to the municipality per se, but we contribute that way towards the recruit classes and instructing classes within Elgin Middlesex. Nice list of courses here that are taken through the Ontario Fire College, a lot of them through the fire school right here locally. And then you'll see also and you'll see some of them on social media that we post throughout the year, provincial certifications that we received. There's quite a few there. A lot of them related to upcoming certification, but just also, I guess, routine training as well. Fire prevention, the fire prevention team. Again, you've probably seen our fire prevention officer and team, their presence on social media as well. They're doing a bang up job of pub ed and fire prevention in the municipality. Put on some great initiatives. I know Coffee with a Firefighter was just the most recent one, but they've really significantly increased the pub ed efforts within West Elgin, which has been great. I mentioned a few other activities. There's quite a few obviously that went on throughout 2025, and just a shout out, a thank you to the department, all the dedication for the firefighters. And we're looking forward to 2026. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Councillor Denny, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. Thank you, Jeff. That was a great report and sounds like a wonderful year of growth and community service from West Elgin firefighters, and it's great. Just curious, in the event that a fire department did not pass provincial certification, what does that mean for a municipality?
Yeah, great question through the chair to Councillor Denning. So it is something that the OFC, or sorry, the OFM, Ontario Fire Marshal, says they are monitoring and will audit certain departments. It really, at the end of the day, it comes back to liability. So are they going to be checking every single record, every single document we have? Not necessarily in the short term, but it's really comes down to our liability and ensuring that we're providing the service that we need to. So I guess it's the best answer is probably in that case if something were to happen in regards to an injury or an incident or something that we need to ensure that we're certified and or trained.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Tellier, please.
Thank you, and through the chair. Thank you so much, Chief, for bringing this to us in this detailed report from 2025. The camaraderie, the professionalism, the success that both stations have is seen and heard, and they are everywhere all the time. And we thank you for everything that goes on with that. I had a question though, in regards to a few years ago, we had problems getting, we got our bills out, but we didn't get payment when we would attend to a call on the 401. What does that look like and what's the procedure there?
Sure, thank you. Through the chair of the deputy mayor, appreciate those kind comments. I'll be sure to pass them on to the firefighters. Yes, there's still an issue around no service calls to the 401, and you will see actually on the totals by type, not that they're all Highway 401 calls, but we try to keep track of them differently. So there was 5 under type 698 that were basically our services weren't required. The OAFC, the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs, is still working with the MTO on that. I'm optimistic that there's going to be some resolution there soon about no service calls. Outside of the no service calls, we've had they do push back a little bit more just on ensuring that we have the proper documentation, verifying the tasks we completed. So again, the firefighters have been great about completing that documentation and taking any information they need from the scene. So our fire service coordinator works diligently at that. I don't have the year-to-date budget of what we were able to invoice to MTO last year, but overall we've made progress forward there, and we don't see as much, there is some back and forth, but we're still getting the payment in the end in most cases.
All right, thank you. And just one stat I see that you've missed is the Canada Day baseball game. So next year, maybe we can have that stat and how they did. Thanks
Sure,
so
and
much.
I better not mention which station won here this year, but I'll let that see what
Well,
happens
that's-
again next year or this
All
coming
right,
year.
thank
So, thanks.
Further questions? Councillor Sousa, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Hi, Jeff. I just wanted to thank you and the West Elgin Fire Department team for the breakfast they had at Soso's Taco. Great information on carbon monoxide, smoke alarm on every single floor of your home. Again, I just wanted to thank you and your team. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And that's a great, I appreciate you highlighting that. That's something we're really trying to push this from a pub ed message that carbon monoxide detectors are necessary on every level of your home now. So that's something we're seeing. So yeah, thank you.
Further questions? Have the recommendation, please.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receive the 2025 year-end report from Jeff MacArthur, Fire Chief, for information purposes.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Denny, all in favour? That's carried. And we go to 8.3, municipal drains. 8.3.1, request for section 78, major drain improvement, York Drain.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair to council, this report is presented to you today as a standard. You've seen many of these come to council before as a section 78 notice of request for a major drain improvement. And this is on the York Drain. We have received 2 requests from 2 different landowners. And this is also asking to proceed. The drainage superintendent has reviewed the request and does deem it to be necessary, and would like a recommendation as well to appoint Spreets and Associates to proceed with all the necessary actions. Is any members of council have any questions or concerns with this drain?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, that the recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the section 78 notice of request for drain major improvement for the municipal drain known as the York Drain, and that council approve the request for the improvement of the York Drain dated January 21st, 2026, submitted by 1, Kevin Kreider Farms Limited, and 2, Mike Miller, 571419 Ontario Limited, and that council hereby appoint Spreets and Associates to proceed with all necessary actions pursuant to the Drainage Act.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. We go to 8.3.2. Drain tender results. Government drain number 1 north.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report is also a very standard one that council has seen many times, and this is tenders have been received for the government drain north, number 1 north. As you'll see in the report, we did receive 5 different tenders. They certainly varied in prices, with the lowest one coming in as J.L. Henderson Limited, total tender price of $120,028.31, which includes HST. The drainage superintendent does not have any issues with proceeding with J.L. Henderson for approval. If any members of council have any questions, I can certainly do my best to answer the questions on the drain tender.
Yes, Councillor Statham, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, I guess, Terry, you may not be able to answer this, but I was just curious. It is quite a bit lower than the next, tender. So you said Tom was comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You didn't see any problems.
Yeah, from my conversations that I had with Tom, because I did question that as well as why the difference, and he indicated, so some of the companies are a little newer and have some smaller equipment. So a lot of their cost is in labor because it takes so much longer for them to do it, where you have the bigger companies that have the bigger equipment, less time to get the job done.
Got it. Okay, as long as we're still getting the same level of service from a lower price, then and I'm happy that we're saving money. That's great.
Yeah, my understanding, JL Henderson, very well-known company, very reputable company as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Deputy Mayor Tellier, did you have a question?
Through the mayor, same question as Councillor Statham is what I had, and also I believe the clerk has answered my question. I just didn't know if we'd used them before and what their reputation was to have that big of a spread also. Do we know if we've used them before and had a great outcome or?
Yes, David, please.
Thank you, through you, Mayor.
Dave, I mean.
When I was there for the tender opening for this project, I spoke with Tom. This contractor was using Dunwich a lot, so they're comfortable with them as well. So just some background on that. So.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, then. No further questions? Can we have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Terry Toshchuk, Manager of Community Services, Clerk, regarding the tender results for the Government Drain Number 1 North, and that council approves the low tender submission from J&L Henderson in the amount of $120,028.31, HST included.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 8.4, Infrastructure and Development. Tender results, 2026, maintenance gravel. Dave, over to you.
Thank you. In January, we put out a tender for maintenance gravel, as we do every year. In the previous year in 2025, we reached out to Johnson Brothers to extend their price. This year we put a tender out to the bid. Currently, or when we received the tenders, we received only one tender, which was Johnson Brothers. After reviewing the prices over the last years, as indicated in the report, there's been a slight increase over the years, and this increase is right in line with all the other increases we have. At 22.9 or $22.96 per ton. That's to take the gravel from the lot and spread it onto our roads, or to stockpile it as we need it in our facilities. This is a expected price for the tendering unit, so I'm not really that concerned about the fact that we only have one tender. So if anybody has any questions, you can let me know.
Yeah, I would, if they're spreading it onto a gravel road, or if they're just actually dumping it in our yard, is the tonnage price the same?
Yes, it is. Usually when it comes to our yard, it's for our use later, and we needed to apply it to a use later in the year. So when they're out there, they're spreading it with our crew, and we're grading the road as they spread it. So that's the process behind that. Whether they take it to and slowly dump it along the road when we're doing it, or they can make it for our supply. It's usually a very limited amount at the end that we're stockpiling.
Okay, thank you. I was just thinking it took a little longer to spread it than it would to dump it, and I thought it might reflect the price.
Yeah, it's very minimal amount to the total tender. It's like we just want to make sure we have some later in case we need some.
Sure, thank you. Further questions? Seeing none. Could I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Dave Sharon, Manager of Infrastructure and Development, regarding 2026 maintenance gravel, and that West Elgin Council authorizes the tender from Johnson Brothers Limited at a price of $344,400 plus applicable taxes to cover supply and application for the 2026 season.
Move it, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour? It's carried. 8.4.2, tender results. 2026 dust suppressant. Brian. Dave, over to you again, please.
Thank you. At the same time we put out the gravel tender, we put out the brine tender. This is for dust suppressant throughout the municipality of West Elgin. In previous years, we we are right around this exact price. I think it's just a small increase. We're going to be using the same contractors we used in 2025. We had a lot of success with them. There is one note on the tender that we did receive a lower price of 216,000 rather than 249,000. In that price, it is they produced a lower content of brine compared to the one that I'm recommending. In the past, we've had challenges with them producing a higher percentage for them, and then we required them to come out again and complete the different applications. So we in the previous last year we recommended the same application of the minimum 20%, and it was very successful. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, Councillor
Thank you, Mr.
Ben.
Mayor, through the chair. Dave, thank you very much. So inevitably, come late May, June, some of us start getting phone calls from folks wondering when the dust suppressant will be applied to their gravel roads. Is there a schedule of some kind, just in case I do get that question again this year? I can proactively say, this is when it happens and this is the frequency, which I'm guessing the frequency is once?
Correct.
Okay, and time of year usually?
Last year we did it in May and June. That was our window. When we do brining, if we're not going to be applying extra gravel to the road, we start those roads off as soon as we can. And then if there's a gravel that's going to be placed on the road, we place it after the gravel has been placed so that it can be turned into the new gravel that's on there as part of the previous contract. So that's a timing window. Once we outline the roads that we need to get done for this year for gravel, then we'll have that schedule out. And as soon as that's out, I will provide it to council as well, so that you guys can have that if we get any phone calls. But I also suggest that if anybody has any questions, to have them call us so we can provide that information.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, yeah, thanks for looking at the quality of the brine, because I know that it makes a huge difference. Cheap is not always the best. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Councillor Statham. please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through the chair. Kind of a similar question to Councillor Denning. I am very familiar with those phone calls as well. I guess the 2 million liters that we have, when you guys apply, sorry, maybe this is a two-part question. When you apply the brine, and there's let's say a rainstorm directly afterwards or a thunderstorm, does that affect how the brine adheres to the gravel in the road surface, and does it have to be reapplied if that were the case?
We monitor the weather very closely when we do this. So we make sure that the brine is applied at the correct time, and then when we have the ability to call out the supplier to come at certain windows. So if there's a application going to need to be done, we look at the weather and forecast that, so we can call them out to come out on these days, or call them off if we have weather that's going to negatively impact the brine. Sorry.
Perfect. And just a quick follow-up, if I may. Thank you. So if there was, just I guess hypothetically, if there was a case where, we applied the brine and then a thunderstorm comes out of nowhere, we have to reapply for that road. Does that 2 million liters of dust suppressant give us a little bit of wiggle room if we have to reapply to certain stretches of road?
A very minor amount of wiggle room.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Further questions? No. Can I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Dave Sharon, Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and that West Elgin Council hereby grants pre-budget approval in the amount of $249,800 plus applicable taxes as submitted by Newman Petroleum 1998 Inc. of Clinton, Ontario for supply and application of dust suppressant during the 2026 season.
Mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. 8.4.3, McLeod Court Assumption. Dave, over to you, please.
Thank you. This is an exercise of assuming McLeod Court here in West Lawrence. In 2020, at the end of 2025, I met with the Don West, who's building the subdivision. We reviewed all the construction that was completed at the site and what needed to be finalized, including final coat of pavement and the curb conditions that we have out there. Along with that, they've submitted videos of the sewer conditions and certificates of and the water conditions that we have installed out there as well. Those after I reviewed the site, it appeared to be acceptable. This is the paperwork assignment after to make sure that we have this all done. So Don West has reached out with a letter that's attached in this report so that we can assume the road and finalize the taking care of it. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Questions, anyone? Seeing none. Have the recommendation, please.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Dave Sharon, Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and that West Elgin Council authorizes the dedication of the lands described as McLeod Court, PIN 35113-0844, as part of the municipal highway system, and that West Elgin Council authorizes the mayor and clerk to sign bylaw 2026-11 to give effect to this decision.
Move it, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour? That's carried. And we move on to 8.4.4. Installation of a stop sign at McLeod Court. David, please.
I think we all know where we're going here. After the construction of the subdivision to make it legal for the stop sign to be placed, this exercise of adding the stop sign to the stop sign bylaw and this report needs to follow up. So I'll leave it at that. And if anybody has any questions, please.
I'm seeing no questions. Could I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the amendments to bylaw 95-56, addition of stop signs, report from Dave Sharon, Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and that council approves the installation of a stop sign on McLeod Court at its intersection with Finney Street, and that council adopts bylaw 2026-02 to amend the municipality's traffic and parking bylaw 95-56 to reflect this change.
Move it, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. 8.5, Community Service and Clerks. Game on, youth drop in sport day.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to council, this report is presented to council today to propose a program that our communications and recreation coordinator has been working with a representative from the health center to get our youth more active within the community. So this is going to start as a pilot project, a one day. It's on the Friday of the March break. It is proposing the use of the recreation center. They have requested a fee waiver. So the recreation main floor, you can see that the total fees are outlined as $242. So what's going to be included is it'll be a variety of sports that and different recreation activities. The two gals will be facilitating it with some other volunteers. There's going to be 2 sessions from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. for grades 6, 7, and 8. And then the second session will be in the afternoon from 1:30 to 3:30 from grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. This is also in collaboration with our recreation committee as well. So the reason there's not a younger one is because the recreation committee has identified that there is many programs within the community for the younger children through the local daycares and their affiliates. So this is primarily asking for the use of the recreation facility at a fee waived. Yeah. Does any members of council have any questions or concerns with the report presented?
Seeing none.
Okay.
Could we have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Terry Toshik, Manager of Community Services Clerk, regarding Game On Youth Sport Drop-In, and that council hereby approve a fee waiver for the program to be conducted on Friday, March 20th, 2026, in collaboration with the West Elgin Community Health Center.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded. Councillor Denning. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 8.6, Chief Administration Officer, Economical Development Committee. Budget requests. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This budget is a follow-up to the presentation that you received by the Chair of the Economic Development Committee. The presentation is to highlight some of the programs and projects the Economic Development Committee would like to undertake for the 2026 year. These proposed estimates, we would ask Council to add to the consideration as we move forward developing our 2026 budget. To one exception is asking just for funding, which was up to $300, and that would be to support a Business After 5 event that we are planning or hoping to be planning for late March in 2026. And again, as Pam had described to everyone, this is a purpose of networking with our local business owners and entrepreneurs to understand what services they are providing within our community, for everyone to start to get to know one another, understand the services that are there and what needs we can do to support them. So with that, Council, do you have any questions?
No questions? Seeing none. Could we have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the West Elgin Economic Development Committee report from Pam Wardell, Chair, and Robin Greenall, CAO, and that Council considers incorporating the proposed economic development project costs as part of the 2026 operational budget, and that Council approves the committee to spend up to $300 to support a first quarter West Elgin business networking event, tentatively scheduled for late March 2026.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. 8.6.2, 2026 remuneration adjustment. I think it's over to you, Madam again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, in front of you is an annual report that we bring forward for staff remuneration adjustments, wages. As Council may have remembered back in I'm trying to get the date. In 2024, Council actually conducted a pay equity review of all non-unionized positions within the municipality of West Elgin. That review set your pay equity structure, your banding, and your step increases. Following that, a pay adjustment policy was reviewed by Council and adopted. And part of that was the recommendation that Council should apply your October CPI to the next year's wages, and that allows the wage structure to remain maintained current and within that 50th to 75th percentile. It is for Council's annual review to consider this. However, when we are not making that application, then we risk our wages falling further and further behind our neighboring municipalities. So attached to this report, you will see 3 schedules. One schedule is the current banding and step schedule for all of the positions, non-union positions within the municipality. When pay equity was adopted by the municipality of West Elgin, we had a unionized portion of our staffing complement. However, last year, the membership requested and voted to decertify. So we no longer have a union membership. They now are non-union. I can speak to that later if you'd like, Phil. So with that, I would recommend that we also apply the CPI to their wages as well. However, what has not been done is incorporating those jobs into the banding structure. So part of this report recommends that we conduct a pay equity review of those previously unionized positions so that they can incorporate into our overall structure. Council, you will also see that there is a Schedule C attached. That is the schedule for our summer students. Please note that when the report initially went out, there was a slight typo in it. If you were in the lowest band of the first step, you got the highest wage. We corrected that, so you will now see that that isn't the prime position to have. That was a typo and error. So the correct schedule is in the package before you. So council, those are my recommendations, is for council to approve the adjustments to the 2026 wage band. That would be 2.2% as indicated in the October 2025 Statistics Canada CPI, and that for council to proceed with giving direction to conduct a pay equity review of those previous unionized positions. Council has any questions? I can help to answer.
Any questions, please? Seeing none. We have the recommendation, please.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the 2026 Remuneration Adjustment Report from R. Greenall, CAO, and that West Elgin Council approves the 2026 wage band adjustments of 2.20%, the October 2025 Statistics Canada Consumer Price Index, CPI, for all goods in accordance with HR Policy 3.6, Pay Administration, and that West Elgin Council directs staff to conduct a pay equity review of all previously unionized positions to incorporate them into the established pay equity schedule.
Move it, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Sousa. All in favour? That's carried. 8.6.3. I believe this is the electric charges, is it? The grant funding?
Yeah.
And
Over
who's going to comment
It's
on
over
it?
here.
Thank you.
We group them for you.
Yeah, everybody say something.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, this is a report to bring forward for your consideration. It is concerns to the ZVIP grant program. February 2025, council approved to proceed with the ZVIP grant for the implementation of electric chargers in the location of West Lorne. Then subsequently, council, when it was deliberating its 2025 budget, your decision was to defer that program until we could investigate if further grant opportunities would be available through the Charge On program. And we did make the application in 2025. Unfortunately, that session of the application had closed. And so we waited until the 2026 application was open, and that grant has been submitted. We are waiting for possibly another 4 weeks to have confirmation if we would be successful in that grant. However, in that time, we've heard through the Charge Crew Group, which is the organization that is supporting the development and the installation of the chargers, that they misunderstood the availability of the grant, the previous grant, the VZIP grant, being deferred and available. What we heard back from that funding source is there was an anticipation that we would have had that project started and money spent. They are investigating the ability to defer and adjust your timelines, but what they would like to receive from council is that if you do have a positive indication from the Charge On federal program, that you would proceed with the installation. So we're just at a sort of a position of council wanting to move forward with this program. Cost implications, both of those grants, if we would successful, can be piggybacked, meaning they can be stacked on one another. We anticipate there would be about a 10% cost that would be associated to the municipality for the overall project. that 10% does have the possibility of being zeroed out if Charge Crew still wants to proceed with a partnership with the municipality, meaning they would pay the differential and then we would cost share the revenue from the charging stations. So we have potential for this to be sort of a negligible cost. Council does need to be aware that a conditions of these grant means that we would be fronting the 248,000 on the onset in order to purchase the charging stations. We then would be rebated to zero through rebates, but council does need to be aware that that would be a cash flow request, that we would make the purchase and then be reimbursed. But at this moment in time, I do need to respond back to the ZVET program funders, giving them confirmation of council's position on this project, that if you're willing to proceed, then they will take that in consideration to extension of timelines. If there's any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Sousa, please.
Thank you, Robin. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Just so our constituents are aware, the charging station, the whole project, it comes with a parking lot. It comes with parking spaces. The parking is going to get redone. It's going to be some nice parking available for our community. Is that correct?
The project will include the parking spaces for the electric charging units, so it will be specific to charging stations. However, we can take the opportunity to shape those parking spots to be dual purpose. It could be both electric charging station and accessible parking. We have had some concerns here in West Lorne where the older accessible parking lots were on the main street, and those no longer meet the accessibility codes. Having somebody open their door and exit onto oncoming traffic is no longer the preferred method for accessible parking. It is much more preferred that people would be driving in and then they would be opening out and entering onto the side. So side lots are much preferable. The benefit of having dual is that if a person needing accessible needs is available, that spot is available for them. Or if someone is charging their car, that spot is available for them. There would be no way to establish preferential treatment, meaning who could or have. It would be a dual spot, but it would meet some needs in the short term as we then look at the remainder of the community and addressing the existing parking. But to be clear, it's not an expansion, Dave, that's correct. It's not an expansion of multiple parking spots. It would be a defined parking spot though for charging and accessible purposes.
Yes, from looking at the drawings that we've seen, I think it's like 4 spots total. So it's not a significant amount.
Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none. Could I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from R. Greenall, CAO, and that West Elgin Council approves the recommendation to proceed with a commitment to the installation of electric charging stations upon receiving grant funding through the EV Charge On program.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Denning, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. And we go to 9, Board or Committee of Council reports or updates.
This item on the agenda is just for any members of council if they'd like to provide any updates from their respective boards or committees that they're members of.
Seeing none. And so we go to 10, which is a notice of motion to be heard at the next regular council meeting. 10.1, Councillor Sousa, Winterside Works Maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to bring this up this is a notice of motion. I'm going to bring this up at next council meeting. Just want to update our bylaws regarding sidewalk clearing and providing more clarity on the rules surrounding sidewalks within our municipality. And yeah, we're just gonna talk about it in the next municipality. I'm hoping to create a more up-to-date bylaw. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 11, council inquiries and announcements.
This item is just for any members of council if they have any informal inquiries or announcements to provide.
Yes, councillor Denning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. I just wanted to take a moment and not let this moment pass without congratulating our local Olympians, Bo Horvat of Rodney and James Dunn of Wallostown. Both participated in the 2026 Winter Olympics and Paralympics in Italy. They have both worked hard their entire lives to get where they are. And just at everything that they do, they continue to make Western Elgin proud. So wanting to join in the rest of our community in celebrating their wins, because let's face it, their wins are our wins. So well done, guys.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think everyone in the room feels exactly the same. Thank you. Anything further? So, correspondence. County of Elgin, notice of decision, E8-26.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, both of these items are grouped under correspondence. They're just a notice of decision and notice of no appeals, both for E8-26. Does any member of council want to speak to either of these? They're pretty straightforward. Yep. The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receive and file all correspondence not otherwise dealt with.
Mover? Do we have a mover? Councillor Denning, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, shall we go to 14? Is that correct?
Yeah, when items requiring.
Yeah, items requiring council consideration.
Then there was nothing.
There was nothing presented.
Mhm.
So we go to 14, which is bylaws. 14.1, 2025-61, Hookaway Drain, third reading.
That bylaw 2025-61, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works on the Hookaway Drain in the municipality of West Elgin, be read a third and final time.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour. That's carried. 14.2, bylaw 2025-67, Government Drain number 1 North, third reading.
That bylaw 2025-67, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works on the government number 1 North Drain in the municipality of West Elgin and the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, as amended by resolution number 2025-12, be read a third and final time.
Mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour. That's carried. Thank you. 14.3, bylaw 2026-202, stop sign bylaw amendment for McLeod Court.
That bylaw 2026-02, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 95-56, providing for the erection of a stop sign at intersection of McLeod Court and Finney Street, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Mover, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour. That's carried. 14.4, bylaw 2026-06, zoning amendment 23104 Johnson Line.
That bylaw 2026-06, being a bylaw to amend the municipality of West Elgin's comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2015-36 for property at 23104 Johnson Line, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Mover, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour. That's carried. 14.6, bylaw 2026-08, zoning amendment 283 Rideout. I'll go back.
Okay. That bylaw 2026-08, being a bylaw to amend the Municipality of West Elgin Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw number 2015-36 for property at 283 Rideout Street, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Move it, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Sousa. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 14.5, bylaw 2026-07, zoning amendment 22165 Talbot Line.
That bylaw 2026-07, being a bylaw to amend Municipality of West Elgin Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw number 2015-36 for property at 22165 Talbot Line, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Move it, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Denning, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 14.7, bylaw 2026-09, zoning amendment 145 Graham Street.
That bylaw 2026-09, being a bylaw to amend the Municipality of West Elgin Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw number 2015-36 for property at 145 Graham Street, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. 14.8, bylaw 2026-10, appointment of Chief Administration Officer.
That bylaw 2026-10 be a bylaw to appoint a chief administrative officer for the corporation of the Municipality of West Elgin and repeal bylaw 2025-03, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Move it, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. 14.9, bylaw 2026-11, establish public highway McLeod Court.
That bylaw 2026-11 being a bylaw to dedicate and establish lands as a public highway to be known as McLeod Court, PIN 35113-0844, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Councillor Denning, all in favour? That's carried. And with that, we move into a closed session.
That West Elgin Council hereby proceeds into closed session at 5:54 PM to discuss matters pursuant to the Municipal Act, Section 239(2)B, being personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal employees, 1, HR issue, and 2, HR overview. Section 239(2)D, being labor relations or employee negotiations, treasurer recruitment update, and Section 239(2)E, potential litigation, bylaw.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you very much. So we're reporting from the closed session.
Reporting from closed session at 6:22 PM. Council received 4 items pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act and provided staff with administrative direction.
Thank you. So we go to 17, which is the confirming bylaw.
That bylaw 2026-12, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of council held on February 26, 2026, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour? That's carried. And 18 takes us to adjournment.
That West Elgin Council hereby adjourn at 6:23 PM to meet again at 4 PM on March 5th, 2026, Committee of the Whole, or at the call of the chair.
Mover, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Councillor Sousa. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you very much.